Blink number 7. Make your weekend plans special by writing a list of actionable dreams and embracing spontaneity. There are lots of different ways of planning your weekend. Let's take a look at a couple of strategies you can start putting into action today. The first tip is to make a list of your top 100 dreams. That might sound like a lot, but there's a good reason to jot down so many. If you only listed your top 10 dreams, you'd likely end up with extravagant wishes like visiting the ancient ruins of Mexico or having a private dinner. There's nothing wrong with dreaming big, of course, but you're unlikely to do anything as extravagant as that on an average weekend. Once you start extending the list, however, you'll get to the things you can do on a regular Saturday or Sunday. That might be something like drinking a huge strawberry milkshake while your kids are busy playing in the park. So grab a notebook and start writing. Even better, get your partner or family members to do the same. You can see where you overlap and start coordinating a fantastic weekend together. But remember, planning doesn't mean accounting for every second. Loose plans are fine, so keep it simple. You don't need more detail than Sunday lunch with Ann and Peter, or take the children to the beach on Saturday afternoon. Finally, there's downtime. Weekends are your chance to rejuvenate. If you want to get some rest, plan it in. That's even possible if you have a house full of exuberant young children. The key is to let your kids know that rest is important to you. So if you want an hour's nap, tell them that's what you're planning. Soon enough, that'll become part of your household's routine. You can make that even easier by accounting for their needs at the same time. Why not pencil in an hour of screen time for them while you're dozing? Follow these tips and you'll soon be enjoying restful and pleasurable weekends that set you up for the week ahead. Which brings us to our next topic, work. In the next couple of blinks, we'll take a look at how improving your time management can help your career. Blink number 8. Boost your chances of success at work by keeping a log of how you spend your hours in the office. How much time do you spend working, sleeping, and doing chores? Tally it up and then ask yourself a question. Are you really sure that's right? Most people think they know where their hours go, but it's common to overestimate some things, such as sleep, and underestimate others, such as housework. Work falls into the first category. People generally overestimate. That makes getting a realistic overview of how you spend your time key. The trick is to learn to mind your hours. This technique will help you optimize your time management at work. Pay careful attention to your hours, and you might realize that you actually work a 50-hour, not an 80-hour week. There's a simple enough reason for these kinds of assumptions. People overestimate the time it takes to do things they don't like and underestimate the time they spend doing things they do like. That's why chores or writing emails seem to take an age, but you never feel as though you've gotten enough sleep. The former are unpleasant activities, while the latter is something everyone loves. Keeping a time log will give you a much more realistic overview of your days. Aim to record your allotment of time over an entire week, making a note of all the hours spent working, tidying, and so on. You can use a spreadsheet or an app if it helps. Once you've done that, you're ready for the next step. This is all about using your time log to help you plan your week more wisely. That will make your work much more productive. Take it from Michael Sonnen, the mind behind Emergency Link, a website that stores personal information such as your medical history for the use of emergency first responders. He uses his Sunday afternoons to think about Emergency Link's priorities over the coming weeks. Once he's worked them out, he shares his insights with his team. That means everyone knows exactly what they need to do on Monday morning, which enables them to use their time effectively rather than running around like headless chickens. So pencil in some planning time into your calendar. You'll find that when you plan for things to happen, they usually do. You might just get around to writing that annual report you've been putting off for so long. Blink number 9. Achieve success by planning for it and cutting out work that doesn't bring you anything. Success is the fruit of planning. To be successful, you first have to make success possible. That sounds like a tautology, right? Well, there's actually more to it than meets the eye. Laying the groundwork for success is all about carefully choosing your priorities for the day ahead every day. To do that, you need an accountability system that won't let you down. Let's start with the first part. Setting lofty goals is all well and good, but it means you'll often end up falling short. That's because there's no way for you to achieve them on a daily basis. Take the well-known American fitness entrepreneur Shailene Johnson. She sold 2 of her businesses to the fitness company Beachbody and became one of their consultants. Her long-term aim was to make the firm more profitable. But that's just not something you can do on an average day in the office. Johnson's solution was to set herself smaller and more achievable daily goals. By hitting her targets every day, she worked, slowly but surely, toward fulfilling her bigger ambition. For example, she'd aim to arrange a teleconference with her CEO to talk marketing one day and set up a meeting with a project manager to discuss strategy another. Achieving these smaller goals kept her motivation levels sky high. Accountability is the second key to achieving success. It's all about sharing your aims with someone else. Call them an accountability partner. Their role is to check in and let you know whether you've met your daily or weekly targets. So much for planning. The next step on the road to success is to cut out tasks that feel like work but don't actually achieve anything. Think of emails. Writing and answering 100 messages is part and parcel of today's digital world. Some of them are essential, of course, but it's easy to end up feeling utterly swamped while not really getting anything done. Sometimes it's better to shut your inbox and get down to what really matters. That might be working on a presentation or preparing for an upcoming team meeting. Cut out distractions, and you'll find that the really important tasks actually take far less time than you'd imagined. Blink number 10. Success in the workplace is about practice, depositing career capital, and looking for pleasure. There are things we've all heard a million times before, and yet still find hard to put into action. In this final blink, we'll take a look at some time-honored truths it might be useful to remind yourself of. First off, practice makes perfect. One of the great obstacles to improvement is running on autopilot. Consider driving. You get into your car, turn the ignition key, and hit the road. By the time you've arrived at your destination, you can barely remember your journey. That's a handy skill, but it doesn't make you a better driver. If you want to improve, you need to practice deliberately. Think of an aspiring author. Would she be better off writing endless reams of prose or asking one of her peers to read and critique her work? The second option is the harder of the two. After all, criticism stings, even when it's well meant. But it's also the only way forward. The writer who asks for help and adjusts her style to take on board the critique she's received will simply be a better stylist than the hermit working on autopilot. Next up is learning to keep a deposit of career capital you can use for future opportunities. Career capital is basically everything you've earned so far during your work life, your experience, networks, skills, and professional personality. Think of it as a currency you can use to buy new opportunities, such as a promotion. Keeping your account well stocked means that you'll be able to afford more. One of the best ways of making sure your account is in the black is to nurture your relationships. That's all about establishing trust. When people know they can rely on you, they're much more likely to pass on tips and throw in a good word for you. Finally, there's happiness. The more attentive you are to signs of success, the happier you'll be. That's backed up by a study carried out by Harvard Business School professor Teresa Amabile and developmental psychologist Stephen Kramer. In their book, The Progress Principle from 2012, they looked at 12,000 diary entries by different teams in several organizations across the United States. They found that 76% of the days on which employees were happy were also days on which they made a breakthrough. Noticing the signs of success, like positive feedback or a eureka moment during a difficult project, is sure to make you happier too. You've just listened to our blinks to What the Most Successful People Do Before Breakfast by Laura Vanderkam. The key message in these blinks is that proper time management won't just make your mornings less hectic and keep your stress levels down, it'll also boost your productivity in the office and help you get the most out of your weekends. The key is learning how to keep track of time. Once you know where all that time goes, you can start making plans to use your hours more efficiently, and that's great for your career and your personal life. Want some more helpful advice? Take it slow and go easy on the to-dos. Weekends are all about rejuvenation. They're your chance to take some time out and recharge your batteries. That doesn't just mean getting rest, though. Like a holiday, they're about doing the things you don't have time for in your everyday life, so don't spoil them by working through an endless list of chores. Think about what you'd really like to do. Maybe it's a day trip, or just enjoying a coffee in a cafe. Whatever it is, make your plans and stick to them. The laundry can usually wait until Monday evening.